The stars above Earth used to shine with peace. Now they burned with fire. It began on a quiet morning, when the sky split open. 1,000 alien warships appeared without warning. No messages, no demands, just silence, followed by destruction. Within minutes, half of Earth's defense satellites were gone. The Vorn Dominion, a race humanity once called friends, had arrived not as visitors, but as conquerors. Commander Ryan Hale watched from the bridge of the starship Valor as the first cities turned to ash. London, New York, Beijing, gone. He had seen war before, but never like this. The Vorn didn't fight for victory. They fought for extinction. "Sir, the colonies on Mars and Europa are falling," shouted Ensign Kara. "Their fleets are overwhelmed." No response from command. Hale's voice stayed calm, but his hands trembled on the console. "Send the evacuation signal. Get everyone off planet, now." Another explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered red. The sound of tearing metal filled the air. On the main screen, Hale saw a bright white beam slicing through the sky. One of the human cruisers, the Liberty, was cut clean in half. No debris, no survivors. Just silence. Then a transmission blinked on the screen. It was his wife, her face pale, smoke rising behind her, Ryan. "They're here. We can't—" The feed dissolved into static. For 3 long seconds, Hale didn't move. Then, very quietly, he said, "They just made the biggest mistake of their lives. Captain, shields failing." Kara cried. "The Vorn flagship is charging weapons!" Hale's eyes locked on the screen. The alien ship looked like a floating fortress, dark, cold, and pulsing with green light. Its commander, Warlord Zerak, appeared in a hologram, his reptilian eyes gleaming with arrogance. "Humans," Zerak hissed. "You had your chance to kneel." "Now you will vanish," Hale stared back. "We don't kneel. We fight, then die," Zerak replied, and the transmission cut. The Valor shook violently as the alien beam struck. Panels burst, sparks flew, and screams filled the bridge. Hale pulled himself up, blood trickling down his face. "Divert all power to forward cannons," he ordered. "But sir, do it!" The Valor fired everything it had, every missile, every plasma shot. The sky exploded in blinding light as the ship rammed the Vorn battleship head-on. Then, nothing. Hours later, inside a shattered escape pod drifting in space, Ryan Hale opened his eyes. His body ached, his mind blurred, but his heart still beat. Outside the cracked glass, he saw the burning remains of Mars. He had survived, and that was enough. Because if he was alive, humanity still had a chance. A rescue signal flashed weakly from a nearby outpost. The door opened, and 2 miners dragged him out. "You're lucky, Commander," said one. "Everyone else is gone." Hale coughed, staring at the smoke-filled sky. "Not everyone," he muttered. "Not yet." Days passed. The survivors gathered. Soldiers, engineers, farmers, even children. They hid in abandoned tunnels beneath the red surface of Mars. No one spoke much. Everyone had lost someone. One night, by the flickering light of a broken lamp, Hale stood before them. His uniform was torn, his face scarred, but his voice was steady. "The Vorn think we're finished," he said. "They think humans are soft, that we'll beg, that we'll break." He paused, letting the silence hang heavy in the air. "But they don't understand what happens when you take everything from us." Lena, a young engineer, looked up from her corner. "So what do we do, Commander? Run forever?" Hale's eyes burned like steel. "No, we build. We fight back." He turned to the old cargo bay beside them. Inside were the broken remains of human ships and scattered pieces of alien tech. He pointed toward them. "Right there. That's our new army. Weeks turned into months." In the shadows, humans began building again. Not sleek, shining ships like before, but hybrid monsters of steel and rage. Alien plasma engines fused with human AI. Each ship carried the name of a lost city, a lost soul. They didn't fly under Earth's flag anymore. They flew under a new one, a black banner marked with a single iron circle. They called themselves the Iron Resolve. Their first attack came without warning. A small Vorn patrol vanished in the dark near Jupiter's moon. The aliens called it a sensor malfunction, but then it happened again. And again, a whisper began spreading across. Space was silent again, but not at peace. For months, No human signals had been detected. The Vaughn Dominion believed the war was over. They had burned Earth's colonies, erased cities, and claimed victory. But far beyond their scanners, in the cold shadows between Jupiter's moons, something was moving, not light, not sound. Just shapes, dark, broken shapes, floating like corpses, until one of them came alive. The wreck of an old human battleship flickered with light. Engines roared after months of silence. A white symbol burned across its hull, a circle of iron. Commander Ryan Hale stood inside the reborn ship's control room, watching human and alien technology merge together for the first time. "This isn't a ship anymore," he said softly. "It's a ghost. And it's hungry." The survivors had done the impossible. Using wrecked alien parts and human ingenuity, they built ships from graves, silent, invisible, deadly. Lena, the young engineer, called them the Ghost Fleet. "These ships can't be tracked," she explained. "They run cold, no heat, no signal, no life signs. The Vaughn won't see us coming until it's too late." Hale nodded. "Good. Then we strike where it hurts." Their first mission came soon. A Vaughn supply convoy drifted near the asteroid belt, unprotected and unaware. From the dark, the Ghost Fleet emerged, 6 ships, scarred, silent, and glowing faintly blue from stolen alien reactors. The attack lasted 2 minutes. No human voice, no mercy, just light and fire. When it was over, the alien convoy was gone, nothing left but silence and dust. The humans didn't stay to celebrate. They vanished back into the dark like phantoms. Across the Vaughn network, panic spread. "Enemy unknown," one alien officer reported. "They strike without warning. They leave no bodies." Warlord Zerak, seated in his throne of steel and bone, slammed his clawed fist onto the table. "Ghosts? There are no ghosts. Find them, burn them!" But no matter how many patrols he sent, none returned. In the hidden base beneath Mars, Hale and his crew watched intercepted alien footage. Lena smirked as an alien captain shouted into his comms, claiming to see shadows with human eyes. "They're afraid," she said. "Really afraid. They should be," Hale replied. "We're just getting started." Weeks turned into months, and the legend of the Ghost Fleet grew. Everywhere the Vaughn went, they found messages carved into the metal walls of their wrecked ships. 3 words: "We are human." The message spread like a virus. Even Vaughn civilians began to whisper it in fear. The humans were no longer just soldiers. They had become myths. But not everyone in the fleet agreed with Hale's methods. Dr. Elias Quill, the team's scientist, watched him with concern. "Commander, we're crossing lines," he said. "We're executing prisoners. Destroying outposts without warning." Hale didn't look away from the holographic map of alien territories. "They showed us no mercy, Doctor. We returned the favor." "This isn't justice," Quill replied. "It's revenge." Hale's voice turned cold. "Maybe that's what we need." One night, while the others slept, Hale stood alone in the control deck. He played an old audio recording, his wife's last message, cut off by static and fire. He listened to it in silence, then closed his eyes. "I'll make them remember you," he whispered. The next operation was the biggest yet. The Ghost Fleet was to attack a major Vaughn shipyard orbiting the moon of Sareth. Thousands of alien engineers worked there, the heart of their war machine. Lena ran the diagnostics. "All ships ready, Commander. Once we hit that station, they'll finally know we're not extinct." Hale nodded. "Let's haunt them properly." The human fleet drifted in the black, invisible to sensors. When the signal came, they attacked. The first explosion lit up the entire moon. Alien cruisers scrambled, firing blindly into the void. But every time they locked onto a target, it vanished again. Inside the chaos, the humans moved like predators, silent, coordinated, merciless, aboard the Iron Star. Hale watched through the viewport as the shipyard fell apart in burning fragments. Each blast reflected in his eyes like ghosts of vengeance. Lena's voice crackled through the comms. "Targets neutralized." "We did it, sir." Hale exhaled slowly. "No, not yet." He pressed a button. The interrogation room smelled of metal and fear. Chains rattled softly as a single human sat tied to a chair. Blood streaked his face, but his eyes were burning with quiet fire. 3 Vaughn officers stood around him. Their leader, Commander Zarthul, circled the human like a predator. "So, he hissed. You are one of them. The ghosts. The human smiled faintly, lips cracked and dry. Ghosts? Yeah. Something like that. Zarthul slammed his claws onto the table. Where is your fleet? Where is your leader, Hale? He leaned closer, his breath hot and foul. Tell us, and your death will be painless. The human looked up slowly. Through swollen eyes, he met the alien's gaze and laughed. You think we're afraid of death? You really don't understand humans. 3 decks above the cell, Warlord Zerak watched through a holographic feed. The human's voice was weak, yet every word carried weight. Zerak clenched his fists. Break him. I want locations, codes, everything. Zarthul obeyed. Electricity crackled through the cell. The human screamed once, then began to sing, a broken, haunting melody. The old Earth anthem. Zerak stared, confused. Why does he sing? Defiance, Zarthul said bitterly. It's how they mock us. Zerak leaned forward. Mock? No? It's something else. He saw it now. Even in pain, the human refused to beg. The fire in his eyes didn't fade. It grew. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Commander Ryan Hale stood on the bridge of the Revenant, the Ghost Fleet's flagship. He had intercepted a transmission, his captured man's location. A Vorn prison ship, orbiting the toxic moon Kareth 9. Lena appeared beside him, worry in her voice. Sir, it's a trap. They want you to come. I know, Hale said. And we're going anyway, she frowned. You'd risk the entire fleet for one man? Hale looked at the stars. For one of my people? Always. The Vorn prison ship drifted in silence, unaware that death was coming. From the void, the Ghost Fleet emerged, invisible until it was too late. Engines cold, weapons hot. They glided like shadows of vengeance. Target locked, said Lena. Awaiting your signal. Hale's eyes were hard. No survivors. The void erupted in light. Inside the prison, alarms blared. Zarthul stumbled as the walls shook violently. What is happening? The chained human looked up, smiling through blood. That sound? That's your nightmare knocking. The cell door exploded. Flames and smoke filled the hallway as human marines stormed in, armored suits glowing faintly blue with stolen Vorn energy cores. Commander Hale sent us, one soldier said, cutting the man free. Let's get you home. On the Vorn flagship, Zerak watched the chaos in disbelief. How do they always come back? He snarled. Find them! Destroy them! But it was already too late. The Ghost Fleet hit from every side. Fast, precise, merciless. Alien ships vanished one after another, ripped apart by human fury. Hale's voice came over an open channel, calm and deadly. You wanted our location, Zerak. Here we are. Zerak's claws dug into his chair. You can't win, human. You're a dying race! Hale smiled grimly. Then we'll die loud. He cut the channel. Back on the Revenant, the rescued soldier limped onto the bridge. His body was broken, but his spirit was unshaken. Permission to speak, sir? Hale turned to him. Go ahead, the man saluted weakly. They tried to break me. They don't know how. He looked out the viewport at the burning Vorn ships. I told them what humans do when cornered. Hale nodded, eyes glinting with pride. And what's that? The soldier smiled. We bite. The crew laughed, but it wasn't joy. It was the kind of laughter born from fury and survival. They all knew what came next. As the battle ended, Hale watched the wreckage drift through space. For the first time in months, the humans had struck a true victory. But he felt no peace, only resolve. Lena joined him at the viewport. Sir, the Vorn won't stop. They'll come back stronger. I'm counting on it, he said. They think they can break us. Let's prove them wrong. He turned to the crew. We're done hiding. No more shadows. It's time the whole galaxy knows who we are, sir, Lena asked. What do we call this operation? Hale smiled faintly. Operation Iron Heart. 2 weeks later, every Vorn system received the same transmission. A video, grainy, distorted, showing the Ghost Fleet's attack. Human ships rising from darkness, plasma fire cutting through alien steel, a single voice echoing through static. We were hunted. We were burned. We were broken. But you forgot one thing. Humans don't surrender. We adapt. We endure. From orbit, the planet Erebus 9 looked harmless, a small green world hidden under layers of mist and forest. No cities, no defenses. Just wilderness. The Vorn Dominion saw it as an easy target, a perfect place to finish off the human pests that escaped the last war. What they didn't know was that Erebus 9 was alive, not just the planet, the people. The first alien dropships broke through the clouds, landing near the vast jungle that covered half the continent. Vorn soldiers marched through the fog, their armor gleaming, their scanners beeping softly. "Thermal readings ahead," said a scout. "Possibly wildlife." "Then burn it," replied his commander. Flamethrowers hissed. Trees crackled. Smoke filled the air. But something moved inside that smoke. Something fast, silent, human. The first soldier never saw it coming. A sharp wire tightened around his neck. He fell without a sound. By the time his squad reacted, 10 more were gone. "Ambush! It's a trap!" one shouted, and then the ground exploded beneath them. Hidden mines tore through the formation. From the trees, gunfire rained down, human weapons firing with deadly precision. Within seconds, the mighty Vorn patrol was gone. Only the fog remained, stained with blue alien blood. High above, in a camouflaged command shelter, Commander Ryan Hale watched the chaos unfold through a drone feed. His voice came through calm and steady. "They wanted a war? We'll give them a lesson in survival." Beside him, Lena grinned through her headset. "Operation Ironheart is working. The planet's ready." Erebus 9 wasn't a base anymore. It was a fortress, a living trap built by engineers, farmers, and miners. Every tree hid a sniper. Every rock was rigged to explode. Every cave led to tunnels full of human fighters. This was no longer just a war. It was revenge. On the Vorn flagship, Warlord Xerax studied the reports with disbelief. "Casualties?" "How many?" "3 battalions, my lord," his officer replied nervously. "They disappeared. No signals. No bodies." Xerax's tail lashed angrily. Humans, always hiding, always running. "Enough!" He slammed his claws onto the table. "Send the full force. Burn the planet until nothing remains." The sky over Erebus turned black as the Vorn fleet descended. Dozens of ships opened fire. Plasma beams scorched the jungles. Mountains crumbled, oceans boiled. From orbit, it looked like the end. But deep underground, inside the old mining tunnels, Hale's people waited, calm, ready. The planet shook, but their resolve did not. "Now," Hale said quietly. Across Erebus 9, hidden human batteries came alive. Missiles streaked upward from caves, forests, even rivers. The Vorn fleet never saw them coming. Explosions ripped through the alien formation. Ships tumbled into one another, crashing in flaming spirals toward the ground. On the surface, humans poured from the tunnels. Old rifles, scavenged armor, homemade explosives. They fought like demons, each one carrying the memory of Earth in their hearts. A Vorn soldier screamed into his comms. "They're everywhere!" "They're..." Static. Silence. Hours later, the battlefield was quiet again. Smoke rose from the wrecks of alien dropships. Erebus 9's forests burned in orange light, but among the ashes humans stood tall, bloodied but unbroken. Lena climbed up beside Hale on a ruined ridge. "Sir," she said softly, "they called this a farming planet, not a battlefield." Hale's eyes stayed on the burning sky. "It's both now," he said, "because humans fight with whatever they have. If all we have is dirt and fire, then we use that too." A faint smile crossed her face. "They'll come back, won't they?" "Yes," Hale said. "And next time, they'll bring everything." A few miles away, a dying Vorn soldier lay in the mud. His breathing shallow, his eyes wide with disbelief. A human boy, no older than 16, approached slowly. Space was supposed to be silent. But tonight, it screamed. The wreckage of the Vorn fleet drifted through the void, burning slowly, scattering like black snow. And in the middle of that graveyard, the ghost fleet moved like shadows among bones. Commander Ryan Hale stood on the bridge of the Revenant. His eyes were calm, cold, the eyes of a man who had lost everything, and now had nothing left to lose. "Status?" he asked quietly. Lena's voice came from the control station. "All ghost ships in formation. Reactor cores stable. Weapons fully charged," Hale nodded. "Good. Then let's finish what they started." It had been months since the Battle of Erebus 9. The Vorn thought the humans would hide again. But the humans didn't hide. They evolved. Every battle, every defeat, every scar, they turned into new strength. Their ships were faster, smarter, deadlier. Their captains no longer feared death. They welcomed it, as long as it meant taking a Vorn ship down with them. And now, under Hale's command,
the Ghost Fleet was ready for its biggest strike yet. Target, the forge of Vorn Prime, the heart of the Dominion.
The place where every alien warship was born. From his throne deep inside the forge station, Warlord Zirak watched the holograms of his empire. Thousands of ships, millions of soldiers, unbeatable, he sneered. The humans are scattered. Their Ghost Fleet is a myth, an officer approached cautiously. My lord, we detected unusual activity near the outer sectors. Empty signals. Ships with no life readings. Zirak's eyes narrowed. No life readings? Yes, sir. They appear and vanish instantly. Then they are already dead, Zirak growled. Forget them. He didn't know. Those were Hale's ships, watching, waiting, preparing. 3 days later, the forge of Vorn Prime woke to alarms. Every scanner screamed the same warning. Unknown contacts detected. Hundreds of them. No radio signals. No transponders. No mercy. The Ghost Fleet had arrived. Hale's voice echoed across the human network. Remember what they did to Earth. Remember who we lost. Today, the ghosts become hunters. And with that, the human ships opened fire. The first wave hit the Vorn defense grid with brutal precision. Alien cannons tried to lock on, but the Ghost Fleet moved like smoke, vanishing between scanner sweeps, reappearing only to strike. Missiles roared. Beams sliced through alien armor. Human AIs, the digital souls of fallen pilots, guided the attacks, each one whispering a name before impact, a family, a city, a home. For every ship that burned, 1,000 memories burned brighter. Zirak stormed into the command hall, furious.
Return fire!
Where are my defenses? Shields failing, my lord, shouted an officer. They're everywhere and nowhere. Impossible. They're human! He slammed his fist down, denting the steel table. They can't win! But deep inside, for the first time, Zirak felt something humans knew well. Fear. On the Revenant, the ship trembled from enemy fire. Lena wiped sweat from her brow. We can't hold forever, Commander. Hale didn't flinch. Then we don't hold. We strike. He turned to the helm. Bring us straight into the forge core. The pilot froze. Sir, that's suicide. Hale smiled faintly. Only if it doesn't work. The Revenant dived into the heart of the forge, a blazing tunnel of molten metal and roaring reactors. Alarms blared as enemy ships tried to follow. They didn't make it. Inside the core, Hale saw the massive energy sphere that powered the entire Vorn fleet. It glowed like a blue sun, and inside it, rows of unborn warships still in their shells. Lena stared in awe. If we hit that, the explosion will tear this entire system apart. Exactly, Hale said. He tapped his comm. All Ghost Fleet units, this is Commander Hale. Fall. The war was no longer a war. It was a hunt. Across the stars, the Vorn Dominion was dying. Their mighty fleets were broken, their worlds burning, and the name human had become a whisper, a curse. Alien children were told stories. Don't go into the dark, or the Ghost Fleet will find you. But deep inside the command ship Revenant, Commander Ryan Hale was not celebrating. He stood in the dark, watching the stars through the cracked glass, their light dimmed by the smoke of his own victories. Lena entered quietly, her uniform torn, eyes tired. Another Vorn colony surrendered, she said. They offered peace. Peace, Hale repeated. The word sounded foreign now. He didn't turn around. What did we do with them? She hesitated. Your order was clear, sir. No survivors. Hale closed his eyes. He could almost hear the screams again, the same kind the Vorn made when they burned Earth's skies. But this time it was humans doing the burning. Was it worth it? Lena asked softly. He said nothing. Outside the ship, the Ghost Fleet drifted through the ruins of another dead world. Black smoke curled into space like ghosts escaping the grave. Human banners fluttered from the wreckage of alien cities, but instead of victory songs, only silence filled the air. Dr. Elias Quill, the science officer, watched from the observation deck. He had once believed in Hale, believed they were saving humanity. Now he wasn't so sure. When Hale walked in, Quill didn't salute. "Commander," he said quietly, "we just executed a planet of farmers." "They built weapons," Hale replied flatly. "They built tools," Quill snapped. "Children, families." "They cheered when Earth burned," Hale interrupted. "They made their choice." Quill looked at him, eyes full of sorrow. "Do you even hear yourself anymore?" Hale's jaw tightened. "I hear everything. Every scream, every name. And I'll keep hearing them until the Vorn are gone. But not all Vorn wanted war. One ship drifted near the human border, unarmed, flashing a white beacon. A single word repeated in their language: parley, peace. The crew argued for hours. Lena wanted to answer it. Quill wanted to study it. Hale wanted to destroy it. Finally, he gave the order. "Fire!" The missile struck. The ship vanished in silence. Lena stared at the screen, horrified. "There were children on that ship, sir. Civilians." "Collateral," Hale said coldly. "The Vorn started this. I'm just finishing it." But when he was alone later, he stared at his reflection in the mirror. Eyes dark, unrecognizable. What have I become? The next morning, a Vorn transmission slipped through the Ghost Fleet's encrypted channels. A voice, calm, intelligent, almost human, to the one called Hale. "You think we are monsters, but look at yourself. You have become what you hated. When the last of us are gone, who will you fight then?" The message ended. Hale stood frozen. For the first time since Earth burned, he had no answer. That night, Lena found him sitting alone in the war room. Charts of destroyed systems covered the walls, each red dot a graveyard. She placed a hand on his shoulder. "Ryan, you can stop now. We've won." He shook his head. "No, not yet. Not until they're all gone." "Gone?" she whispered. "That's not victory. That's extinction." He looked at her, his face pale under the flickering lights. "They made us monsters," he said quietly. "I'm just showing them what monsters can do." The galaxy was quiet again. No explosions, no battles, just silence, the kind that comes after storms. But silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it means everyone is too afraid to speak, and they were. Every race, every empire, every world whispered the same name in fear. Humans. The Vorn Dominion was finished. Their cities were ruins, their fleets dust among the stars. Those who survived hid in the shadows, haunted by stories of glowing human ships and silent revenge. Commander Ryan Hale sat alone in the bridge of the Revenant. Outside, the stars stretched endless and cold. Inside, only a few lights remained, flickering softly like dying candles. Lena approached quietly. "The Council wants to see you, sir," she said. "They're rebuilding. Earth colonies, Mars stations, even Titan base." Hale nodded, his gaze fixed on the void. "Good. Let them rebuild." "You should be proud," she said gently. "You saved us." He gave a small, tired smile. "No, Lena, we saved ourselves. But at a cost we'll spend centuries trying to forget." Down below, in the ruined city of Vorn Prime, human soldiers walked through the ashes. They carried food instead of weapons. They built shelters for the few surviving aliens. The same hands that once pulled triggers were now offering water and warmth. Some Vorn refused the help. Others accepted it silently, eyes filled with shame. One alien elder looked up at a human medic and whispered, "You destroy us. And then you save us. Why?" The medic smiled faintly. "Because that's what we do." Back in orbit, Hale opened a channel to every surviving human ship. The last message. The final broadcast. "Humans of the Ghost Fleet," he began, his voice steady, strong, filled with quiet fire. "The war is over. The Vorn are broken. But remember what this fight taught us. When we were hunted, we adapted. When we were cornered, we bit back. When the galaxy thought we were done, we became something it couldn't control." He paused, his voice dropping lower, heavier. "We're not gods. We're not demons. We're just human. But that's enough. Because when we rise together, no empire, no army, no universe can stop us." Far across the stars, thousands of alien worlds received the signal. The same message echoed in hundreds of languages. For some, it was a warning. For others, a prayer. Everywhere it played, one line burned itself into history. You messed with humans. Bad move. Lena watched as Hale finished the transmission. That'll echo for centuries, she said softly. Every child, every alien, they'll grow up hearing it. Hale leaned back in his chair. Good. Maybe next time someone thinks of starting a war, they'll remember who we are. He stood, walking toward the viewport. Stars glimmered like 1,000 memories. Each one reminded him of someone lost, his wife, his crew, his world. Lena joined him. What happens now? She asked. Hale smiled faintly. Now we rebuild. We teach our children not to become what we fought. And you? I think I've had enough of war, he said, his voice quieter than the hum of the ship. I'll find some quiet world. Maybe plant a tree or two, she laughed softly. Commander Hale, the galaxy's most wanted man, planting trees, he shrugged. Even ghosts need peace. Weeks later, the Revenant made its final voyage, a slow journey back toward the blue world that started it all. Earth. What remained of humanity stood on the old soil again. Cities scarred, oceans wounded, but still alive. Children played under broken skies, and for the first time in years, people smiled. A monument rose in the heart of New London, a single iron circle, the symbol of the Iron Resolve. Beneath it, a simple engraving, for the fallen, for the survivors, for the ones who refused to break. One night, under the stars, a group of explorers gathered around a campfire. A young cadet asked an old soldier, "Is it true, sir, that humans defeated the Vorn alone?" The old man smiled, staring into the flames. Defeated? He said softly. No, son. We reminded them who we are. He looked up at the night sky, at the same stars that once burned with war, and whispered, almost to himself, we were the storm. We were the fire, and we're still here. Back aboard the Revenant, orbiting quietly above Earth, Ryan Hale stood one last time at the window. He looked down at the planet, scarred, beautiful, alive. And for the first time since the war began, he felt peace. He spoke into his final log. They thought we were weak. They thought we would surrender. They thought humanity could be erased. But they were wrong.